because I want to make sure everyone is heard. And so I'm going to speak a little bit in Spanish. This is not going to be like one of those church services where you have Spanish and English because that prolongs everything, but I do want to express en la voz. Estamos aquí para escuchar tu preocupación como comunidad. No nos vamos a quitar. Todo lo que ustedes traigan a nuestra mesa se va a llevar hacia el condado o hacia la ciudad o hacia la persona indicada para poder ayudar y atender tu necesidad. Este evento se va a correr mayormente en inglés para el beneficio de los que están aquí, pero no comunidad se entienda. Al ser una mayoría del residente del condado de Osceola, aquí estamos para ayudar y escuchar tu necesidad. No va a pasar como pasó libremente de todas las preocupaciones que tenemos en el condado de Osceola. Los vamos a presentar y les vamos a pedir que por favor hablen en inglés si pueden. Tonight we are going to make sure we introduce some of the candidates. Some have really brief floor plan for you. This is We Welcome Everyone. And in Kissimmee Main Street, and her big saying is, we welcome the world. And I live by that. We welcome the world. How exciting is that? So Diana's going to come up and say how Starks leads that one, and we'll be having chats with her as well. But today we have some candidates that are here, so we're going to have them come up, say hello. Again, it doesn't matter to me if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or a nonpartisan. To me, is that you care about Osceola County. And if we can reach across the table, pushback we get. And so everyone here, if you have a concern, Ms. Ruthie will be going around with a microphone so that not everyone has to come up here, and she'll be addressing every concern. And please note, when all of you walked in, I said it doesn't matter how big or small, off, right? But we want you to be conscious of the fact that we don't want to be here till 10 p.m., but we do want to hear you. We do want to hear you, because whatever you bring, we've got minutes that are being taken as an official meeting, and everything that's going to be brought here, your concerns will be taken to wherever it needs to get to. So we are the voice for your concerns. So thank you. So I am going to start with Dr. Ivan Rivera, who is an NPA. Thank you, Dr. Ivan, for being here, for caring about our community. Please, if you would come up and present yourself. Let me move out of your way.
Thank you, Jackie, for the invitation. I believe that most of you know me. I'm Dr. Rivera from Ponciana Medical Clinic, and I'm happy to be here sharing this District 46 of Osceola County right here. We're talking about Ponciana, we're talking about Pleasant Hills, Ham Brown, all of those streets right there. But my main concern is that there was a lot of promises in this country. And I mean, it's been 20 years, 30 years that we have the same traffic. We have a lot of problems in Ponciana. And I mean, we have candidates here that they pass through, because I believe that most of them, they are in the same family. And I believe that due to the fact that we are different, we should start changing all of those things. This kind of discrimination, especially when one of the commissioners of District 3 mentioned that my broker, he was a military. I was in the military field like a captain of the National Guard in Puerto Rico, and we defend this nation. And we know by facts that there's no language barriers in the whole. Supposed to be that the main language in the United States is English, and we're not supposed to speak in Spanish. Así es que I'm here, años hablando español. And we know that this is America. We know by fact. But we defend this nation because it is the most powerful nation that we have in the countries. And that's why we built America. And by the fact also, I mentioned before several times in my TV programs that Juan Ponce de Leon, that beautiful town that we have right there in San Agustin, was the first person that arrived to the United States. I respect the pilgrims. We have a lot of fun with the turkey dinner, but we have to understand that the first person that arrived here is Juan Ponce de Leon, and that's why San Agustin is built there. So we have to clarify those points also. There is a lot of confusion. I believe that most of the people, they don't check the history of the United States. This is a melting pot. We're here together like a group to defend our nation. Dr. Ivan Rivera, candidate for the...
Thank you, Dr. Ivan. So yes, I like St. Augustine. I've been spending a lot of time there. It's wonderful. I love it. Thank you. I'm going to have Scotty Moore, Republican, running for congressman correct? I want to make sure I got this right.
Can you hear me okay? I really believe that we're in a critical moment in our nation's history, and I believe it's because we're experiencing a leadership crisis. What Jackie, you've been talking about and what we've been talking about, my name is Scotty Moore. It's Scotty with a sliver, a very small part of Polk County. The current incumbent, Democrat Darren Soto, votes 100% of the time with Nancy Pelosi, and he and I disagree. And I'm running because I believe that we need change. I believe for the time that he's been here of that. You can look around. You can look at the economy. You can look at gas prices going up and how that affects all of us. We're having to make hard choices about all goods are going up. And by the way, the power of the dollar in our pocket is going down. Our retirements are of the community. I really believe representation involves showing up to meetings like this, interacting, listening, and talking and working together with the community. And just a little bit of a background, I've been married for 19 years. My amazing wife is Brazilian, and she became a U.S. citizen 16 years ago. We have two amazing daughters. Isabella's 14, Sophia's 11, and I care very deeply about our families, about our kids, and about parents' rights. So like I said, my wife's Brazilian. I lived 6 years in Brazil. Eu falo português, aprendi nas ruas do Brasil. E também eu hablo portanhol, que é uma combinação de espanhol e português. Pouquinho. Eu hablo e ter conversação com ustedes. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Scotty with a Y. I like that. I've memorized that. When he speaks Scotty with a Y, I like that. Scotty spoke about one thing that regardless if you're a Democrat, a Republican, or a nonpartisan, and I think that's very important, that you all analyze, I am a registered Democrat. Publicly, and I've always said is, both parties have failed us at some extent. Now, our faith, our foundation, and our community is what we need to look forward to, is who we need to serve. I don't worship Trump, and I don't worship Obama. I certainly don't worship Biden. So everything that affects my granddaughters' lives and my daughter's lives. Because you see, I'm already forward vision. So I just saw Peter Vivaldi walk in. Thank you, Peter. I know you were stuck in traffic. No, just kidding. It's because he's a Republican. No, just kidding.
That's close to the Sentinel today.
Sorry.
Yeah, we did our interview in the Orlando Sentinel today, and it was like, you get like a minute, 15 seconds, and they got this clock running, and you're trying to keep up with all the questions. But thank you for the invitation, and thank you all for being here. And I'm sorry I'm late. And I mentioned that in our debate, our little debate at the Sentinel, because my opponent was obviously talking about, it's been 10 years and he's been fighting and fighting. I'm like, well, you hadn't fight hard enough because the traffic is really bad out here. And I know we had the rain and we've had everything else happen, but I'm just so grateful to be here, to be alive. Again, my name is Peter Vivaldi. I'm running for State Senate District 25. It's the new district. It used to be District 15. This covers all of Osceola County, and it covers part of West Orange County, which is Dr. Phillips, the SeaWorld area, the Metro West, not Metro West, what am I talking about Metro West? I feel like I live more in Osceola. And we are only 54 days away. Besides the wages, besides the traffic, besides all the things, I really think that we can do something that hasn't been done before, which is work across party lines. And like she said, we put, I'm sorry for the microphone, we put people over politics. And I agree, 100%. So after we're done here, I'm gonna stick around. So if you have any questions, God bless.
So in all fairness, all the candidates that are running, Mr. Torres, it would also be Congressman Darren Soto or Kristen Arrington for House, State House. So we would install Will Fonseca come in, and I know it was raining, Will, and he's gonna get 29 seconds because he's a Democrat just like me. Just kidding.
Hello, everyone. I apologize for coming late. I left football practice and then had to drop off softball equipment for Special Olympics. Thank you. And then the traffic, right? right? So I'm Will Fonseca, running for school board District 4. We're in District 4. It covers from Thacker, Dyer area, and Kissimmee, and it goes all the way to St. Cloud, the Canoe Creek area. I'm known as coach because I've done a lot in the community with the youth from all ages, the young age, all the way to the high school age. Like I said, I'm currently a head football coach for high school of City of Life Christian Academy. And I feel that we need a change of leadership right now, and it seems to be a big issue. Make sure we're always looking out for student safety. With my law enforcement security background, I have a real estate background. I could bring those aspects of looking at contracts and looking at the safety of the schools and bring that experience. As well as our seniors. We have so many seniors leaving high school, no clue what to do. And I feel for them because I was one of them. And I'm sure some of you guys are one of them. They have no clue. So our junior, senior year, we need to help our seniors, and we need to give them something different, some internships that make sense. Give them some life opportunities to help them pick that next thing in life. And that's a big part of why I'm running, aside from other reasons. But thank you, Jackie, for putting this on. I think this should go on at all levels, county, school board meetings. We should all do a town hall meeting and get to really know the community and not to give them a set time limit or a time constraint. We need to be more flexible, and this is one of the many ways.
Are against Will, please know that she's also invited if someone shares these. Some people don't want to debate, and that's okay, but the questions must be asked. So La Voz will be opening up forums, and people are welcome to come in and we'll have questions. We don't bamboozle you, so we give you the questions beforehand because we want you to be prepared to answer them appropriately. To throw a question at you and expect to do an aha moment, we're getting nothing done. There we go, reinventing the wheel. Nothing gets done, nothing gets accomplished. Went to public issues. So I am going to have more out of control development. But before I go into this, everyone here understands that you're all allowed to ask questions. You're all allowed to, when it comes time for public issues, everyone here should have the opportunity to we might not have the answer for you today, but trust me, we're going to get it. And we're going to direct it to the proper person or group. For those of you that got here late, that was kind of my spiel a little bit earlier. Please feel free to ask your questions. Minutes are being taken so that we understand exactly what was said, what is asked, and how we can help you. Your emails were taken in the beginning. We'll be forwarding you the budget that was just shared directly from the county. A lot of you, most of you, let's say it, everyone here knows Jeremy Fetzer. He's it, but I want to come out here and have you talk about the budget, and then the next segment, and so Jeremy, you want to come over here? And
Well, I'm going to start with this first portion, which is for Monday's agenda for
and can you talk about the penny tax, because it sunsets soon.
regular meeting. Actually, it's two different big items. So you have the regular, you get 5 votes, and they used to work for the county. It was like 2.5 miles. Used to take me 35, which is still stacking up, coming from the south side of the county up. District 4, where we sit right acres of agriculture conservation and change it into low density residential, which is more zero lot right homes. And then 3 to 4 cars per home. So think about Ham Brown Harbor Road, 560 new homes, 3 cars minimum. So you're looking at 1,500 open public meeting, the county commission, which this past Monday is their once a month open public comment meeting where it's just about open public comments. To the county commission live stream. Think about that. So it's something that's purposeful, that when you do want to say your piece to the county commission, that they're not live streaming. It's the County District 4, you have 75 acres, turned from ag, conservation to low density residential, some more homes off of Kissimmee Park Road, so get ready out there. And then District 5, the Narcoossee overlay, again, just like Pleasant Hills and Cambridge. So you have 175 new homes, more housing and more building, out of control building, where the infrastructure doesn't support it. The roads, the schools, the water, the sewer, the emergency services can't make it out there. Fire departments, we're 15 fire homes behind what should be in the county. And in this budget, which I'm gonna go, hold on, let me go to the next slide. So it's only me running the computer. We're good. So here's the FY. We're trumping Orange, a more expensive county to operate. Why? Right?
Well,
So 58.5, this county commissions refused to do a long-term contract with them. And again, there are 15 firehouses behind, and and giving adequate service to the county residents. But they continue to build. Now we look at this, $546 million in reserve accounts in this budget. So almost a quarter of the budget we did last time when we tried to increase the sales tax 1% to 8.5, the highest in the state. They do not have a revenue problem, they have a money management problem.
That's right.
And another $8.1, $8.5 million. So it'll be a $30 million road for less than 2 miles.
We have someone in the audience, Jeremy, that's going to mention Neo City, because that was what he mentioned when he walked in, so it's funny.
Neo City to IMAX, so we get a $3 million cash payment using property tax dollars to be a part of it, even though less than 100 jobs. Yes, we just got a $50 million federal grant, so now we're at $350 million. Just announced that they're building a $1.8 billion facility, $1.8 billion manufacturing facility in Indiana. 7 weeks, and they announced they're building a $1.8 billion factory and 750 high-wage jobs in Indiana. So, again, it's on all of our backs. Again, the taxpayers of Osceola County point out the obvious: $350,000 to McCormick Institute for a veterans clinic, to horse riding and equestrian facility, $2 million, to the top political donor in Osceola County's wife's nonprofit facility. Now they're building $350,000 for veteran clinics. When we just built a $600 million new veteran clinic in Lake County. So again, it's the why.
A reaction to the Latino community, porque es tan importante que en la comunidad latina entiendan que esto tiene que ver con dinero. Nosotros no entendemos la magnitud del mal gasto para poder sentarnos a analizar un presupuesto como el que está aquí en pantalla. Y con esto quiero decir que vamos a cerrar este capítulo. Yo quisiera que el que tenga alguna pregunta, por favor, no duden en comunicarse, que yo hago un one-on-one, de tú a tú, para poderte explicar esto, porque es extenso. Pero si no nos empieza a importar, si no nos empieza a interesar esta situación, nuestro condado no luce bien. Nuestro condado, siempre dicen que hay un problema de dinero, lo que hay es un problema de administración. Y ese es el problema. Entonces tenemos que poner un alto y decidir hasta cuándo va el dinero. Y es tiempo de que unamos fuerzas, de que entendamos que es un donante que da dinero aquí a las campañas y a su esposa le están construyendo o le construyeron un centro de estos de caballos, de equestrian, ¿verdad? Donde hay terapias para personas. The therapy is supposed to be for the veterans, correct?
Yes.
Para los veteranos, que creo que es un abuso para esas personas que han servido a nuestra nación, que utilicen eso como un gancho para decir que los veteranos tienen un beneficio cuando aquí se construyó hace $50,000 para el McCormick Institute. Y esto es un problema, pero estamos ciegos en nuestro trabajo, en nuestro día a día. Mi trabajo, digan lo que digan, personas muy capacitadas para poder explicar este presupuesto que ustedes ven en pantalla. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, so, and I want to say this about the McCormick Institute. As a disabled veteran for the last 4 years, they have a huge wealth. And this type of stuff should be done through philanthropy, right? This is philanthropy. This shouldn't be funded because this philanthropy to additionally gain and build their wealth. And again, too, I am a disabled veteran. But to me, this should be funded by private entity and non-taxpayers. We have bigger things to worry about in this community, like the traffic, like jobs, like high-wage jobs. Again, the median family income in Osceola County is $45,000. That's a family, right? We have multi-generational families living in one unit. And here's a perspective too. Out of $1.9 billion, 200 million small business contracts went out, right? That's what the county paid in small business contracts for goods and service. With a county that's almost 60% Latino, small businesses are 50% owned by Latinos. How many contract was given for ice vending machines, the biggest political donor for that amount, than all Latino-owned small businesses?
I think I need to explain that in Spanish for those that are listening. En este condado se dan 550,000, se ha ido 550,000, 550,000 se han ido hacia las empresas, pequeños negocios de hispanos. O sea, aquí no hay un balance. Porque el pequeño negocio, todos los pequeños negocios aquí, la mitad, el 50% los dueños son latinos. ¿Cómo es que tú me dices a mí que de 200 millones solamente se ha dado?
$150,000 out of 200 million, 0.27%.
Okay, ¿entienden? 200 millones. Y a los latinos le tocan lo que se llama, en buen español, las migajas. Vamos a hablar con nombre y apellido. Las migajas. Tenemos que despertar. El segmento se debe llamar Despierta, Osceola.
The tourist development tax, or TDT as they call it, is back up to $117 million projected for FY23. Out of that, 52 to 53 million is going to go to Experience Kissimmee tomorrow. Enforcement security for the West 192 corridor. It could actually fund fire services on the West 192 corridor, since a majority of the fire calls do go to hotels and tourism in the county. So desperately in need of a long-term fair contract.
Creo que hay un desbalance, no hay nada es equitativo, ¿verdad? Y eso es un problema. Jorge. Ruth.
IMEC is a company that opened up in Indiana, set up here.
Who brought Neo City to Osceola County. Orange County passed on it, Brevard County passed on it. The actual company that went to Indiana was the company that replaced UCF in the deal, Skywater Technologies. So when UCF left 2 years ago and ran from the project because they peeled back the onion and realized at the end of the 5-year term, the discounted rent, we're going to get $80 million. We're going to get the clean rooms, the administration building. They took their $1.8 billion chip manufacturing facility to Indiana. But that's not it. We spent $500,000 a year too on a consortium to open up an office in South Korea. I'm South Korean too, I'm Korean. I told them it would never work. So they've been trying to market to the South Koreans. LG decided to open up their $3 million semiconductor chip plant in Arizona. And Samsung put their $18 million semiconductor chip plant in Texas. So we spent over $1.5 million trying to market to the Koreans. Yes, they did get a developer to buy acreage, 20 acres overvalued, which again ran up the comps. You actually got there. But they're just 50 jobs and $1.8 billion investment in Indiana. And that's it. And you guys have invested $350 million in this project. Your money that could have went to infrastructure.
So my challenge is every single person in this room that lives or plays here in Osceola County is affected. Now, of course, you're going to hear the people say, Jeremy doesn't know what he's talking about. I challenge that. What they want to do is shut us down, right? And that's why they push back so hard. But we're not going to stop, because the county needs to understand that we will continue pushing forward until we have proper representation at every level of the gas pedal. We've got to keep pushing. Absolutely, and they're held accountable. Yes. You know, it's something. I go to the receipts of everywhere I go. I'm programmed. And I go, gee, I wonder what the sales tax is here. 6.5. I said, man, that's not bad. And then I come here 7.5. Go ahead, I had to just throw that in there.
So our current sales tax percentage is 7.5%. We should have the county commission along with the school board in both cities have decided to bring this to the ballot this November, November 8th, to do a 20-year renewal of it. So this is about $87 to $100 million depending on the year of revenue. It's what I believe 50% goes to the county, 25% goes to the school board, and then the city split the rest. So again, Julius Melendez, the school board member, brought up a good idea to, hey, they need to renegotiate the percentages to make it more fair to the school board, because schools are just as important as they need. And the county has proven over the last, the county refusing to renegotiate the terms, we have a chance as a community to actually roll back the sales tax to 6.5 to again make us a more competitive community when it comes to small business. And again, too, just like when the county said that they needed to raise the sales tax to 8.5, and they did these crazy numbers, and I know the budget intimately. I proved on paper that they were lying through the current revenue streams and the current amount of money sitting in reserve accounts. So I said that they had a $2.5 billion overage that they could spend. And they said, no, they need the revenue, or $1.8 billion road backlog would never get fixed. But just 3 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 3 to 6 So they proved that they lied in that whole flight to increase our sales tax in 2019, which we all proved on paper that it wasn't a revenue problem. It's our schools and our teachers get funded correctly. For me, I stand against it, and I think we should give these people hundreds of millions.
Perhaps correlate a little better in Spanish. Estamos a punto de que en esta elección tenemos que ir a votación para el 1% de 7.5, pero el Estado como tal está al 6.5, no adecuadamente. Es nuestra oportunidad, en noviembre nos afecta, pero ¿sabes qué? Si ya le hemos dado tantos millones de dólares a esta administración y muy frescamente no han usado el dinero, que sí, este impuesto va a durar 20 años. Y ahora se renueva en el 2025, o sea que hasta el 2045, a que si ustedes aprueban el 1%, vamos a unir fuerza y decir, porque ¿para qué? Si estuvieran utilizando el dinero adecuadamente, vamos para adelante, pero eso no podemos seguir dándole poder a personas que no saben utilizar ese presupuesto.
Any questions on the budget?
I think, young lady here.
Planning Commission meeting last week, and not one but two developments were voted down. I was surprised that they allowed it, but they did. They listened to every single person who came and spoke for their 3 minutes, and at the end of the day, they had no choice but to vote it down. They voted two of them down. Now, I've been tracking since I just moved here in October, so I've been last week. The town voted two developments.
And that
So I'm really hopeful
speaks.
because there's
That's
going to
it.
be a proposed development taking over the Oaks Golf Course anywhere KYP. And we are fighting it like crazy mad, but it was really hard like apartment building on Pleasant Hill Road across from the Lindsay. That's what it takes. You have to do it.
And I think I need people to hear that. That's where the problem lies, right? Because they think we're asleep. Once again, I have to say, despierta, Osceola. Let's wake up. It's time to wake up. Michael.
Yeah, I think, Jeremy, you've been too modest. I think it's important to mention what happened during the penny tax. During the penny tax, when they were presenting it, they were making it sound like, we're going to vote on it, we're not going to influence anyone, and all of a sudden, I'm getting message spearheaded that. And when we banded together, and what's important is that it's not that we didn't, I would have voted for the tax, but we helped the congestion. And I went through every project that they had that were priority and went, what about Jeremy?
Jeremy walks around with a target on his head.
It's so important to stick together and forget this partisan and, party like, throw that out the window.
As long as they keep us arguing, we'll never get anything done. So this is where it has to stop. We can't keep arguing about ideology. We have to get together and understand these are the issues that affect us.
Election year, so things get disapproved. But after the election, because I'm cynical, I'm sorry.
No, it's correct.
And it will probably come back after the election. Well, they approved 4. Okay. And you're right, they saw votes and went, oh.
Yeah.
I want to say, as a senior, and I'm on Social Security, and I'll be 70 in a few weeks, couple weeks. But that I noticed that St. Cloud City Council, and I did not do a rollback. So basically, they say, oh, we're keeping it the same, but it's not the same. And that concerns me because especially people on fixed incomes, and with inflation right now, it's like they don't even take into account those people or people like me on Social Security,
Yeah.
and that's concerning.
That's a good question. Why are we still putting money into Neo City? And I think the reason is because our priorities are so not in line, right? But Jeremy, I know you have a numerical answer to that.
So first, I want to go back to Teresa's. The rollback is 100, but as long as the rollback, roll it back, and they keep on increasing the assessment value,
And it's the same.
Again, that's how
Yeah.
I think this year Osceola County Commission raised the percentage, but the assessment value went up, so your taxes did go up.
It seems to me like the county commission, and I heard this many times from Cheryl Grebe, and she's my commissioner, then our property taxes will go up because something's got to go up, right? My answer is to get to the valuation board to get it readjusted. And I was able to bring my property taxes down. So wouldn't that be something if we all started filing to get our property taxes reevaluated? Because you see, real estate's changed again. If you noticed, interest rates are going up. I'm a mortgage borrower's office and start requesting. See this gets a little crazy. I'll do it all over again. So please understand, these are your rights. You can go in there and request for your property value to be reassessed, especially because we're no longer inclining, we're starting to decline. So in your case, and there's special reasons, disabled, seniors, why would we run our own?
They were trying to make a tax for the fire fee. And I listened. And in that workshop, one of the people there, was that agency they bring in to sell it to the people?
Right.
They said in that workshop, House Paulina, and thank goodness I was there and got that, because of course I spread it all over. And of course it didn't get passed. But unless you've got somebody going every single thing.
Yeah.
It's all.
So I think it's important because these are real life issues. Now our question, Jeremy, and I'm going to kind of pose this to the people in the room, is where do we go? Who do we go to? Do we go to our congressmen? Do we go to our senators? Where do we go? And that's why it's important that we understand, and we can start there. But some of these issues, homeowners association, I know someone chimed in and wrote about homeowners, which is a whole other chaos, right? And where do we go from there? And I know sometimes when I believe this is important. Jeremy, I'm going to let you chime in on that.
Here's the truth is, what's happening now amongst the community is we have to go out to the ballot box. So all these people are in bed with each other, they're all supportive of it, which you said why Neo Cities, because everybody's on board with it. It can't fail.
Everyone except the community, right? But the leadership is on board with that.
We're year 8 of their 50-year plan. We're $350 million into it, less than 100 jobs. It just keeps on going.
It's a money
Our
pit.
roads keep on going, our schools keep on deteriorating, our firefighters aren't getting paid, we're losing teachers, our schools are getting, you don't have enough schools, adequate schools with the growth. Here in Soto are going. So here's the biggest thing, the state legislature, Kristen Harrington, and even Rep. Hawkins. The only infrastructure bill that they passed and brought home money to last year for roadways, Neovation Way. Not the Pleasant Hill flyover, which is a state-funded road, not widening 192, not bringing funds to actual, and think about that. The road that means nothing to the
That's right.
community.
Think about that. Let's put money to where it absolutely doesn't affect our lives. Let's do that. How smart is that? So I think that's important. And that the only way to people just drive, to work and drive back home. Honestly, if we don't start getting involved, this is going straight south. This is going nowhere. And I think it's important. Scotty, did you have a comment?
Yes, and I was talking to JR. I don't know what the word in Spanish is.
Spanish.
Yeah. Tenemos que prestar cuentas. You need to check in. And so the idea is if everyone went and reevaluated our
Pedir cuentas, ¿verdad? Mantener balance. Mantener
But it's not
balance.
just the financial part. It's to help you either correct or get you out. Because, and it's not just about today or 5 years from now. It's our kids that are teenagers right now. What kind of opportunities are they going to have in 10, 15 years? What about my unborn grandkids that I hope to have someday? I want them to grow up in Central Florida. I love this place. What kind of opportunity are they going to have? We need to start doing this today. And so we can request that our tax bills get reassessed. However, that's also believing in the fact that they're going to adequately and fairly
Absolutely.
do that. And who's holding them accountable? Who holds the power?
School board, Senate, Congress, city, county. So let's look at that. But sometimes, unfortunately, we get so wrapped up in national. We all want to fight about national news. I'm going to have to tell you, Biden, Trump, none of them sit on Neptune Road at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So allow me to explain that to you. I do. And I'm worried about Neptune Road. Some of you are worried about John Young. These are real valid Heck, we're on Broadway. We worry about Broadway right about 2:30 in the afternoon, right, Diana? Diana, I'm gonna have you come up here. Please, come over here and introduce yourself, because just to respect people's time, I want you to come here and tell us what you do for the small businesses in the city of Kissimmee. Now, please understand, whoever's watching, that we have 2 incorporated cities. Everything else is county, okay? So, Diana, you work for...
I'm going to be as brief as I can, but I will preface this with I am not a politician. I am not running for anything. I run a nonprofit organization whose mission it is to preserve and enhance historic downtown Kissimmee for present and future generations. And we're talking about all of that today, right? Jackie said that the key word tonight was accountability. I'm going to challenge it and say the key word tonight is community. Because I think I'm a faith-based woman, and I believe strongly in my faith. Some people will argue about that. Don't listen to them, but I am. And this reminds me of a scripture, a story in the Bible, and that's the Tower of Babel, where God himself said, when they were all speaking together, accomplish. So when you work together as a community, and when you believe strongly with passion and conviction in what you are working towards, there is nothing that you cannot do. So having said that, Kissimmee Main Street abides under a 4-point approach. All main streets do. That first pillar is design. That's your historic integrity of the area that you're in. Most of our main street, they operate out of historic areas where the structures are older. Places like Lewis Music here in downtown, that is a 44-year-old business that's been operated by the same family. Places like Makinson Hardware, that up until a few months ago was over 130 years in this community. It's one of the pillars of what we do. The other thing is promotion, the events that we host. Shameless plug, in October we will have more than 6,000 people here in the downtown, which is kind of what we're talking about today, right? We're talking about, these small businesses. I will tell you, there was no better example of businesses, because the hours have been cut back, and the families were not making the same money that they were making. I cried with these merchants, I prayed with these merchants, and I believed with these merchants. Economic vitality far extends just the marketing and the promotion. Community, they want to feel like they're part of something. And then the last piece is the organization itself. When I came here 6 years ago, one of the things that was so valuable, right to be at the table, and their voice deserves to be heard. And one of the things that I did was walk door to door. I introduced myself. I empowered them to believe that we can together look at it by increasing money to Main Street, by changing the structure of the way we did things, by adding another fee. As a person who's been 6 years in Main Street in this downtown, and a person who understands community. Prior to this, I was in social service for more than 20 years. I help people with everything from have right now. When you have people who work every day, two parent households that are living in a hotel and sometimes sharing a hotel, whoever's in office now or whoever's running, I don't care what you're doing. We're failing as a people. I will close with some of the programs that are offered at Main Street. We offer marketing. If you are a small business, if you're looking to relocate in Kissimmee, if you're looking at my 2 last names and my first name, it's D. Marrero Pinto at KissimmeeMainStreet.org. Jackie, I would trust you to put that in the notes so that people know. Again, you can reach me anytime. We are there to help you. We are there to help you open, help you stay open, help you be successful.
Well, Diana doesn't think she's a politician, but I think she's ready to run for something, right? I am calling that over her life. She'll have to run one day, because there's the microphone so you can answer into it. When you're asking these small merchants if they need help opening, if they need help with signage, if they need grants, CRA grants, and all this good stuff, do you ever ask if they're Democrat, Republican, or non?
To host and to help with
That's right.
the drag show. We were also the first to have a menorah lighting in our downtown.
That's right.
We were also the first to have a parranda here in downtown.
That's
So
right.
when I say we welcome the world, we welcome the world.
That's right. So I think it's important that we understand that. This is where our base comes from. We want to see successful small businesses. We don't care the color of your skin, the party you belong to, and we can't do that unless we do what we're doing tonight. There's someone here that wants to talk about the Homeowners Association. Am I correct? Yes. You want to come up here, or you want me to take a microphone over to you? You want to come up here, so your name and...
Thank you for the time. Virginia, I lived in Illinois, and then I came here. And so when I bought a house, ways in Florida are an absolute shameful disgrace. So when we talk about corruption at a county level, it actually starts in your HOA. And I would be willing to challenge anybody living in an HOA to show me your finances, and I will show you. I live in the Oaks. The dues every year are $250 a year. So I know people say, well, what are you complaining about, man? Bella Lago pays $500. I'm like, I don't care, because it's my money I'm giving over to somebody in exchange for them to take seriously their responsibility to be good stewards, not to take it and use it for their own gain, not to take a position on the board to become a springboard for tyranny, to tyrant you to death with, oh goodness. I mean, if I showed you the picture of a friend of mine who got a violation notice for a dirty driveway, I can't even relate to that. We're community. We're community, and we're name level are the HOAs. And when I tell you, you have no protection, and the state legislatures do not care. The protections are for the condos, and we all saw it. So I'm on a mission. It's become my mission now. Florida HOA reform. I'm very happy. Florida HOA reform. We have a page on Nextdoor. I have a website. We'll be starting a PAC, because I don't believe in whining, and I don't believe in just complaining. I believe in being part of the solution. And so we're going to start a PAC, and we are going to make our voices heard in Tallahassee. And any who will not stand for this, do you know how many times there have been attempts to do HOA reform in Florida? More than HOA can take your home. You know your HOA can drive you out with your own money because they're unlimited funds for lawyers. Are you paying yourself to be sued yourself? Now think about that logic. There's no protection. Worse, that's a story for another day. But when I went to a lawyer, the guy told me, he said, well, I hope you have about $100,000 to start. $100,000, $275 an hour. And he told me about an HOA not far from us that, yes, they won. There was a class action by a number of homeowners, but it cost them $200,000 and took 5 years to get that settlement. And, you know, I don't want to do that. So I'm an area. That's it. I don't want you, I'm not a co-owner with my HOA, but you are. They are your co-owner. Just like the schools, you're co-parenting with the government. Well, in your HOA, you're co-owning with some nameless neighbor who's now suddenly got a head this big because they're on the board. So I hope if you're interested, let me know. I'll just half the battle for me. So I really thank you for your time tonight and look forward to meeting many of you.
You're doing, this is the kind of movement we need. This is the kind of community involvement we're begging for, because all these voices is what changes a community. It's caring, it's not just existing. Peter, I know you have a comment because you are part of a lawsuit. Coincidentally, Peter's part of a lawsuit I heard about with an HOA, so is that good or bad? Tell us a little bit about it.
So 3 years ago, I was asked to do a radio show, and I've been doing it now for 3 years. I didn't know what I was going to talk about the first time, but I found out about a little community called Turnberry Reserve. So we started talking about what was going on, not knowing, because I have friends that live there, not knowing what was really going on with the HOA. Well, long story short, the HOA took about $1 million, the attorney for the management company. So they were all working together. So basically, I don't live in Turnberry, but I've been sued 3 times. The management company leader was arrested. Her boyfriend was arrested as well, was on the news, and asking, when are we going to see reform? Well, the DBPR, who you just mentioned, I just found out 2 months ago, gave this woman back her license to be a manager for an HOA. After being arrested, after going through, and they're still got their homes back. Seniors were losing their homes left and right. They were selling their homes from underneath them. I went to Tallahassee, spoke to them, and it was like talking to this wall right here. Nobody moved. And I've heard, and I mean to say this clearly, my competitor in this race sued by this HOA, by this management company, because we stood for the people. So I want to let you know, and after we're done here, I need to give you my card, my info, because I want to be very much engaged in what you're doing, because I think that.
And this is how community starts working together. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for what you're doing. It's so important. I know there's several questions now, but we're certainly going to direct you and connect you with people that should be helping us with this. Diana?
All right, so there are two questions here. The first one was traffic, which I believe we've addressed. Elizabeth from St. Cloud had a question regarding traffic and what was being done and who you could speak to for it. And I believe Jeremy touched on that already. The next one was school system. How do we retain or hire new teachers? That was posed to us. Again, these questions are our online community, and Carmen Santiago wants to know how do we retain and hire new teachers?
Will, you're in the house. You want to take that question? Because I think it's a good one. Will is running for school board, and someone has a question about school board, and I believe that was one of the questions that was asked today earlier. How do you retain teachers? I believe we're hiring teachers from out of the country. How do you retain them? What entices them to come here?
First is looking out for our veteran teachers. Right now, legislative has brought the starting pay up for teachers to roughly about 48, which is fine, but the teachers that have been there, you get the right school board that's pushing their lobbyists and working along with other representatives, other leaders, elected positions to then fight, because real up is key, making sure that they're heard, making sure that they have adequate resources. These are all things.
Yeah, Mike, do you have a question from someone, one of your agents? Right.
Lucy, and she was asking to try to find out if we could, trying to ask and find out if we know about rental assistance. We all know right now, I'm a real estate agent, my wife's a broker for our company, we're in downtown Kissimmee, and we get calls, where can these people go to get assistance, what can people do to get assistance?
So, Diana, just to be clear, the city of Kissimmee, are they also helping out with the rental assistance program, or is it just the county? Have you heard about city? Okay, so anyone in the county, I know Osceola.org, we can log in there. I'll give you the website because I have it. I've had several clients that have come in and have wanted to request that. But that's a great question because you should be applying for this assistance. And that's a great question. We will connect you and give you the information for that. For your agent, para poder ayudar y asistir con esto de las rentas, los alquileres, es bien importante. Any other questions or comments that anyone wants to bring? If not, I'm going to have Jorge Figueroa, who we were talking about, anniversary for Hurricane Maria. We're currently feeling the winds, and it always reminds us, right? It's been 5 years on the island. I have a chef in my restaurant that came, and we call them Hijos de Maria, right? They're the sons of Maria, the kids of Maria, and they are of Commerce, which was the group that was affected through this hurricane. So if you'd come up here and introduce yourself and tell us what you discovered today.
From Florida. Next week, Monday actually, we celebrate the 5th year anniversary of Hurricane Maria. As you know, it completely destroyed the island. 5 years later, there's still a lot of work to be done. There are a lot of funds available for infrastructure, reconstruction, etc. in the island. Our organization, as a Chamber of Commerce, is working on in Puerto Rico. You know, there are needs in labor. A lot of labor is needed for these projects, for the infrastructure reconstruction. And instead of going out Florida, which will cause people from here have a lot of family there. People from Puerto Rico come here all the time. So, we want to be part of that and make sure that, the monies stay in Puerto Rico and they don't, and in Central Florida, and it goes back to Puerto Rico eventually. So I just watched I had a sneak peek at a documentary that Telemundo is going to have next Tuesday at 5 p.m. I really, really hope that you guys can watch it because it's very, it brings back a lot of emotions. But it's at the capital city because Luma, the company, is not doing the job that they were hired to do and assist the island in any way that we can. And I'm glad that this town hall meeting is going on. I've been sitting there reading some of the items in the agenda, and as a Chamber of Commerce, a couple of years ago, they don't have a clue. They don't have any numbers. That's what they said. But we know that it is not, it doesn't go with, they're not single state of the nation, and you know, when you look at the few contracts that are awarded, they're very low dollar amounts. Goes for what, landscaping, not even janitorial services are staying here in-house. So how is that assisting our county? You know, how are we raising money if all those contracts are community? And you know, I'm going to do my research, and hopefully Jeremy can assist me with this to understand some of these items. But you know, definitely, as you say, this is not a political issue. It's a community issue, and if we don't educate our people and let them know like that this affects you directly, not only you but your family and your generations to come, you know, we're going to remain in the same place we are today. So, cualquier persona que esté mirando, tenemos que envolvernos. Nuestra comunidad necesita que todos nosotros seamos parte del proceso de elegir, porque ese dinero no se está quedando aquí en el condado, no nos está ayudando, no está ayudando a nuestras familias y mucho menos a nuestros negocios. Así que los exhorto a todos a que nos hagamos parte del proceso. Yo me comprometo a estar más presente en esos reuniones de comisión. You know, I do have a family and several businesses to run too, but you know, I will make a commitment to be at those meetings and, you know, make sure that we participate and we raise our voices, because if we don't raise our voices, then people will continue making these bad decisions for us. Thank you very much.
So if you're a small business owner and you're Hispanic descent and need some guidance so that you can reach out to him, my advice to the Puerto Ricans that are still here from the island, get involved. I know you come here and you think, I'm going to go back to the island as soon as we recover, and many of you are still not registered to vote. We have a company that'll come out and help you get registered. Many groups come out and help you get registered in your language. So I'm going to say that in Spanish. El registrarnos y que nuestra voz se escuche. Porque hay ayuda para estos pequeños negocios, lo cual desconocemos, de dinero que sale de nuestro condado y no a los pequeños negocios latinos, sabiendo y entendiendo claramente que hay recursos. No vamos a entender estos beneficios si no estamos registrados, número uno, para votar, para que se escuche nuestra voz. Y estamos cansados de la política, pero no te puedes cansar. Prohibido cansarse, porque solo así nuestras generaciones verán el fruto de nuestro trabajo. Y creo que es importante que tomemos eso a corazón, alma y corazón, porque tú sabes que todos somos boricua, para que tú lo sepas, ¿verdad? Hasta que llega el momento de votar. Después se nos olvida que somos boricua. Hasta en la luna. Pues mira, en la urna tenemos... Do you know what that means? It means you're an American. And I know we love the island. I wasn't raised in the island. I wasn't born in the island. So some people say I'm not really Puerto Rican. I was raised by a Puerto Rican grandmother que usaba una chancleta. Trust me, I'm Puerto Rican. You use the chancleta, la chancleta voladora. You are Puerto Rican, right? But I need you to understand one thing. It doesn't matter. You come here with every single right from the island. I was born in Jersey, so I never understood all that, right? But I get it. And if you come with those rights, you have a civic responsibility to vote and be a constructive part of our community. And if not, you're not allowed to complain. You're not allowed to complain. And I stand firm by that. If I hear you complaining, you know what I tell my Spanish folks? Have you voted? The minute they say that's, and I take that to heart, because that's how my voice is heard. So it's important. Is there anyone else? I don't want to... Cheyenne, thank you for coming out here. We're going to be going to St. Cloud soon. We're taking this like a tour. We're going to do like a tour, you know, go into different cities and parts of our community. And I think that's important. We'll hear more about that. I want to thank everyone that's come out. I want to thank our partners over here, FNN News. They've come out to several events. Thank you for coming out. Don't get tired. Do not tire. You've got to keep going, folks. We thank you for chiming in. We want to be respectful to the time frame. We've allotted a 2-hour spot for this. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. We will be in St. Cloud most likely next. Please stay tuned for Osceola Town Paul, it's important that we all chime in. Thank you for everyone that drove out here from different parts of the county. Thank you for what you're doing for the Homeowners Association reform. Can't thank you enough, Naf, of your vision and mission. Thank you. Signing off, Jackie. Jeremy, thank you for what you do.